$179 for an unlocked smartphone. They must have cut corners, right? Well, let's find out. So if this is your first time here, or if you've plain old forgotten, my name's Ash and you're watching C4E Tech. Let's get started. So let's start with what's to like, and there is a lot to like, believe me. Number 1, the build. Well, the Moto G is definitely thicker and heavier than your regular $600+ flagship. It feels well built. The curved back does well enough to hide the 11.6mm thickness, and the phone feels solid in hand. While the back is swappable, it's worth noting that there is no microSD card slot underneath, and the 2070 mAh battery, though accessible, is not user replaceable. Number 2, the specs. The Moto G is powered by the new Snapdragon 400 Quad Chipset. This houses 4 Cortex A7 cores clocked at 1.2 GHz each, coupled with an Adreno 305 GPU and 1 GB of RAM. While this is certainly not gonna outperform any flagships, it certainly performs way better than the mediatek 6589 and surprisingly even the higher clock 6589T chipset. The mediatek 6589 and 6589T have been the chipsets of choice for most sub $300 devices for quite a while now. And the graphical performance of the Adreno 305 is pretty decent as well. The Moto G managed to run quite a few graphically intensive games pretty smoothly. Overall, the Snapdragon 400 Quad punches well above its weight. Number 3, the display. The Gorilla Glass 3 covered 4.5-inch 720p LCD display on the Moto G gives it a pixel density of 326 pixels per inch. That's on par with the iPhone 5s and most Android flagships from 2012. Again, the display is bright, has good color reproduction and great viewing angles. Now this isn't something we usually see on devices in this price range. Number 4, battery life. We already mentioned the 2070 mAh battery not being user replaceable, and well, yes, that's disappointing. The battery life on the other hand is amazing. With moderate usage you could easily get through 2 days on a single charge, and even with heavy usage getting through a full day on a single charge shouldn't be a problem. On a looping video playback test, the Moto G managed to play video for about 7 hours before finally running out of juice. What really sets the Moto G apart from other devices in this price range is the standby drain. Well, the mediatek chipsets that usually power devices in this price range are pretty good when it comes to power management. Their main issue has been standby drain, and it is on this front that the Snapdragon 400 Quad on the Moto G delivers in spades. The Moto G doesn't lose over a percentage or two of charge through the night. Number 6, software. Here's where Motorola being owned by Google comes into play. The Moto G shipped with Android 4.3 and was one of the first non-Nexus devices to receive the KitKat update. If that's not enough to make your mouth water, there's a Google Play edition that's been released. With the Moto G at least, I don't really see the need for a Google Play edition, since the Moto G doesn't really have an overlay on top. The interface is mostly stock with very few exceptions like the camera interface that we'll get to in a bit, the 3G icon, and a few Motorola apps. Motorola Migrate, like the name says, helps you to migrate your data from your previous phone, and Motorola Assist syncs with your calendar and automates certain settings like turning your phone silent when you're in a meeting and so on. So overall, the UI has been left mostly untouched, and the few Motorola apps mentioned add value rather than compete with Google's own. While with 1 GB of RAM you might experience a bit of lag when you have too many things open at the same time, for the most part the Snapdragon 400 Quad handles things quite well. Everything's smooth and buttery without any frame rate drops or lag, even more so since the KitKat update. Unfortunately, the Moto G isn't the perfect device. To keep costs low, some corners have been cut. Number 1, the camera. The 5-megapixel rear camera fails to deliver. It's slow, it overprocesses images. While it's definitely not impossible to get good pictures, it certainly isn't easy. With most devices these days supporting 1080p video capture, the Moto G can only do 720p videos, but the video quality is pretty decent. Likewise, Motorola has gone with their own UI instead of the stock Google one for the camera, and in my honest opinion that doesn't feel too bad. Drag to focus, tap to shoot, slide to get to the settings menu or zoom, slide from the side to see the pics you've shot. All useful, very useful. Number 2. Well, we are used to seeing headsets not being included with devices that are very competitively priced like with the Nexus series. Motorola has taken this one step further with the Moto G. They haven't included a wall adapter here. Well, with micro USB being the standard for most phones in the last 3 to 4 years, I highly doubt there's anybody who doesn't have a spare wall adapter lying around. So while this can theoretically be counted as a corner being cut, I won't really hold it against Motorola for doing this given the price the Moto G sells at. Number 3. NFC and LTE. With even some flagships omitting NFC, the Moto G can be forgiven for doing that. And as far as LTE goes, since the Moto G is being aimed more at developing markets where LTE might not be a factor, the omission of LTE seems to be acceptable. But this brings me to my biggest gripe with the Moto G. Number 4. Storage. The Moto G is available in flavors of 8 and 16 gigs, and while I don't really like that, I can understand why that needed to be done. The omission of a microSD card slot, on the other hand, is very disappointing. Yes, I understand Google owns Motorola and Google wants people to use cloud storage, but given that the Moto G is focused on emerging markets like India, cloud storage isn't a viable alternative here. With inconsistent coverage and high prices for data usage, we can't really afford to stream data on the go. But all these issues apart, the Moto G is a brilliant device that delivers on almost all fronts. If you're looking for an unlocked off-contract phone that doesn't necessarily break the bank and at the same time doesn't compromise on quality, then the Moto G is a must-buy. And for viewers from India and Brazil, Motorola has confirmed that they will be launching dual SIM variants in these markets. So here's to hoping that a microSD slot manages to sneak in along with a secondary SIM slot. So I guess that pretty much wraps up this review. Hope you guys liked it, and if you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And for more videos like these, stay subscribed. And to stay updated on the latest in tech, make sure you check out our partners over at omegatroid.co. And anyway, if you guys want to pick up a Moto G, you can do that from Amazon. I'll leave direct links right below the like button in the description. So once again, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Share this video if you can. I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Till then, this is Ash here from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.